All right, and now for our last video of week 4 and our last response prompting strategy, we will be talking about simultaneous prompting. And simultaneous prompting is different than the other prompting strategies that we've talked about for two reasons. One is because it starts with a probe. Hear that again. It starts with a probe. So the very first thing you do is you assess the student to see if they can perform the skill correctly. Now, what's interesting about this one is you start with a probe before every instructional session. So what I'm always going to do is I'm going to probe you first to see what you're able to do independently, and it's only after I probe you that I'm then going to provide instruction. And that instruction is at a 0 second delay. So again, you probe, and then after you probe and find out what the student's able to do, you are going to provide instruction through a 0 second delay, so you are immediately providing the student's correct response. So the second interesting thing about simultaneous prompting is that the student never has the opportunity to respond independently during that instructional period. They only respond after a prompt. So let's go ahead and stop the video and let's take a look and see what do the probe trials look like for simultaneous prompting. So stop your video now. First look through the steps and then look through the steps and the considerations, and then come back and we'll review it together. All right, so when you are doing the probe, what you're going to do is you're going to give that intentional cue, because remember, this is an assessment. You're going to do the probe, give the intentional cue, give the task direction, and then wait for a response. Wait for a response. So you do in the probe give the student the opportunity always to respond independently, because you're assessing their independent responses. Then, after they respond, you are going to do one of two things. You are either going to just ignore their errors, because we don't want to give any kind of hint whether or not it's correct or incorrect. We're going to ignore the errors, and then we can give correct reinforcement for correct responses if you would like. But that is optional during a probe, because you could go through the probe and not give feedback on the correctness. You could just give general behavioral praise, for example. So then after the student responds, if they respond incorrectly, you're going to note the error. If they don't respond, you're going to note no response. And if they respond correctly, you're going to note that they had a correct independent response. And so again, always making those database decisions. So this is basically just a probe. It's just a typical probe. And you do that before you provide instruction. Then after you do the probe, you do what are considered your training trials. These are your instructional trials. And so go ahead, look at the steps, read through the steps, read through the steps and the considerations, and then come on back and we'll go over them together. All right, so during the training trials, remember that you are in a 0 second delay trial. That's what you're doing. So you are immediately providing the student with a correct response. So you're going to get, or their controlling prompt that would lead to it, the controlling prompt that would lead to a correct response. So you'll start with that attentional cue, give your task direction, and then what you're going to do is immediately provide that 0 second delay interval with their controlling prompt. If they get it correct, you're going to provide reinforcement, or you're going to provide error correction. If you've already given that prompt and they've got it incorrect, you're going to show them the correct information, the correct response, and we're going to keep moving and then make sure that you collect data. So again, here you have one type of prompt, and that prompt is a controlling prompt that ensures a correct response. So probe first, so test, and then teach. That's it. And then the next time you test and then you teach is basically what it is. So there's no opportunity for an independent response because you are immediately giving the controlling response. So during simultaneous prompting, you have those probe sessions where you give the attentional cue, give the task direction, and then you just record. Did the student give a correct response? Did they give an incorrect response? Did they give no response at all? Because that is an assessment. You are testing. After that, you're teaching using a 0 second delay interval. Give the attentional cue, the task direction, then you're going to immediately give the controlling prompt. If they get it correct, you're going to reinforce. If they get it incorrect or don't respond, you're going to provide error correction by showing them the correct response and just move on. I bet by now you will never forget that if a student gives a correct response, that you positively reinforce it. And if they make an error, don't respond, that you're going to provide error correction. I know it is in every one of our videos or our PowerPoints. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get to see simultaneous prompting implemented. And this first video is a probe session. So you're going to notice that the teacher is not providing any prompts because she is assessing the student to see, and they're assessing is symbol recognition. So the student is recognizing like up, the symbol for up, or the symbol for stop. And so that's what they're working on now with a probe session. Let's look at that.
Okay, you ready? What's this word? No. No. Good job. No. What's this one? Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Ready? What's this word? Up. Up. There you go. Good job. What's this one? Stop. Okay. Stop. Stop.
That teacher is collecting data right now. That's what she's doing, collecting data.
Yeah. Stop. Delilah, what word? Delilah. Here, sit down. Stop. Stop. What's this word? What's this word? Delilah. Hey. What's this word? Go. 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 Good job. Help. Help.
All right, and there she's collecting data again. All right, so that is just an assessment. And every time I watch that, I wonder if that student didn't have a really small little absence seizure in there. Because you see, she was highly engaged. She was on target and responding, and then she kind of like faded out and then came right back and was able to quickly start responding again. Every time I see that video, I wonder if that was an absence seizure. But I don't know the student, just wondering. All right, so now that we have seen a probe session, this is simultaneous prompting, and this is a training session. It is with a different student, but what I want you to see is that the teacher is prompting because she's on a 0 second delay interval in the training of when you're using simultaneous prompting. I want you just to note how she is prompting the student.
B. 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 You found D. No. I mean no. Job. You found no. Yes. I mean yes. Good job. You found yes. Last one. E. E. It means C. Good job. That's E. Good working.
So again, you could tell that what she was using was a 0 second delay. We did not hear her task direction. And obviously we're not seeing the attentional cue because we don't know what these came off of YouTube, so we're not sure what they were used for. But I'm sure she asked the student, gave the task direction, what word, and then she immediately provided him with that word. All right, doing a quick check-in on simultaneous prompting. Uh, if you have any questions, make sure you let me know, and I will see you on Monday. Make sure that you go back to Canvas. This is the last of our instructional videos, but there will be a video on there, two videos, one related to upcoming assignments, what they are and when they're due, and then a second one going over your video assignment. Your first one coming due is using system of least prompts to teach a chain task, a functional task, and then using constant time delay to teach a discrete skill. So make sure that you go back and check out those videos as well. Oh, let me end our video here, and I'll see you in the next one.